And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Well, it's a story that just keeps on giving. More developments here today in the US. Let's bring in our North America Bureau Chief, Jade McMillan, who's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Jade, good afternoon to you. How has this played out?
Well, good morning, Michael. Joe Biden was responding to that controversy you mentioned. This was a joke that was made by a comedian at Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally earlier this week. That joke referred to the US territory of Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage. It attracted a lot of criticism in the days afterwards, and Democrats really seized on it, trying to use it to further their messaging, their outreach to Latino voters in particular in these 7 states that could decide the election outcome, particularly in areas like where we are in Pennsylvania, where there is a high proportion of the population that has Puerto Rican heritage. But when Joe Biden was speaking about this incident on a campaign call last night, local time, he appeared to describe Donald Trump's supporters as garbage, using that same language. Now, he argues that's not what he meant to say, that what he was referring to was what he calls the hateful rhetoric of the comedian and not Donald Trump's supporters more generally. But the former president was very quick to compare this to that infamous comment that Hillary Clinton made back in 2016 when she said that some of Donald Trump's supporters were a basket of deplorables. Kamala Harris's campaign would be well aware of the danger here, and the vice president tried to limit the fallout earlier today.
Well, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for. You heard my speech last night and continuously throughout my career. I believe that the work that I do is about representing all the people, whether they support me or not.
Now, Donald Trump, as you'd expect, wasn't buying that. Here's what he told his supporters at a rally in North Carolina.
He called them garbage. And they mean it, even though without question my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans.
Former President Trump there. Jade, you are in the key swing state of Pennsylvania, speaking to voters on the ground there. What's the mood like?
Yeah, well, we're outside the showgrounds in Harrisburg, where Kamala Harris is going to be speaking on a little bit later this afternoon, local time. You can probably still see a trickle of her supporters coming in to this venue to hear her speak in these final days of the campaign. Everyone that we talked to here was at least aware of what Joe Biden had said. Some said that it certainly wasn't very helpful to Kamala Harris, but most believed it wouldn't ultimately affect her campaign. It was interesting, though, speaking to a man here who was dressed in a Republicans for Harris t-shirt. Kamala Harris has really been trying to reach Republicans, people who would normally vote Conservative but don't like Donald Trump. And he said that he's a lifelong Republican, that he is voting for Kamala Harris this time because he believes that she can unite Americans. He was pretty disappointed with what Joe Biden had to say.
That was a terrible statement. I'm not going to try to explain why he would say that. It could have been a slip or a gaffe on his part. That's wrong.
I don't know that it's helpful or unhelpful at this point. I mean, the rhetoric is not good, and it's not how we should be as a people. But the president can say what he wants.
So, Michael, whether or not Joe Biden meant to say what he said in the way that it came across, it certainly has sucked up a lot of attention today. We are so close now to the finish line, and Kamala Harris no doubt would prefer to really be sticking to her core campaign messages at this point in time.